All right, Jandler here. And just like any true TV show and episodic program out there, during the off season or the summertime, you tend to do a lot of reruns, all right? Now we're doing the same thing here at Choey and Jandler's. It's just we're added our own little twist. We've gone back to some of the previous episodes, taken one episode, chopped it up into two episodes, using our new format. So I just invite you to sit back, relax, and listen to that. Enjoy it. But don't worry, we have more stuff coming out soon, like more things. And obviously, we'll be back in August. And until the next time, peace.
All right, guys, I want to say welcome back to Choey and Jandler's Happy Hour. Welcome, Jandler.
Welcome, Choey.
All right, now I think we're ready to go.
All right. So first things first, like you said, Larry, welcome everyone back. We talked about, after the last couple episodes, we named ourselves the Choey and Jandler. You think you can do it? The Fun Time Super Terrific.
Fun Time Super Terrific Happy Hour.
There we go. But we didn't talk about why it's Choey and Jandler. And
No.
You clearly forgot a couple seconds ago.
I did not forget what it was. I remember the nicknames. I don't remember who was who. Simply because I just remember the whole concept was that we were big into the whole Friends, Seinfeld stuff back in high school.
Yeah, Friends and Seinfeld, and I think I was obviously the more sarcastic one, so that's why
that never changed though.
Yeah, it never changed, so that's why it was more me. We just kind of mixed it up. There's a term for it. I forget what it's called when you kind of flip the sounds, but
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not important.
I'm not an English teacher, nor am I certified to do the English, at least not the high school
Oh
level.
yeah.
But yeah, just so we felt like we both kind of had like a little bit of those Joey Chandler characteristics, but not enough to become you're one, I'm the other completely. So we just kind of mixed it up.
Oh yeah.
But that was again 27 years ago.
Was 95? So yeah, what is that?
Yeah. Long time ago to remember which made up name I was, sir.
Well, I always remembered it, so take that. But you know what else we didn't talk about is you're a doctor. Dr. Choey Tribbiani, right?
Oh, hey, that even works even better. Look at that. Works even better because he was a fake
Dr. Drake Ramori.
Fake doctor. Doctor of education. So nobody get their feelings hurt. Doctor of education's out there. We're not fake doctors, just a different kind of doctor. Which I have to explain at least once a week to kids at school that I'm a doctor, but not a medical doctor. So if you're dying, I'm not going to be able to help you. I will be able to help you learn a little bit on your way to the next life, though. So
I was thinking when I was like, hey, we need to bring this up that you're a doctor. So let's say you go out to a restaurant with your family, like like Chili's or Outback or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If someone at a table down the road starts like clutching his chest, and then the waiter yells out, "Is anyone here a doctor?" Do you raise your hand?
I'm gonna probably wave that one off.
You're gonna like, I got it. I got this.
Hopefully, my kids aren't like, Dad is.
Yeah.
Then I'll have to explain that the whole thing of doctor of education. There's different levels. So, fun tidbit out there for anybody in listening land. Doctor just simply comes from the level of degree in which it is. So you have your bachelor's, your master's, and your doctorate. You can get a doctorate in just about any kind of thing.
What is your doctorate? Is it like strictly
education?
So like that's the curriculum stuff, or what?
You can get like doctorates that focus more on education. My focus was in global leadership. Was the one that I went through. So there's a doctorate there. You can get a PhD with the doctorate of education.
Yeah.
Or you can actually get like an EDD, which is mine is the doctorate of education.
Oh.
So mine is more practical and implementation, whereas the other one's more philosophical.
Really?
And so I felt like I like to be more hands-on and everything else like that. So
we already talked about how our name. I think we joked about it too on the phone. By the way, there's every time you call now, there's part of me that's like, I don't know if I want to answer this phone because I feel like we waste good material. Like just joking on the phone, then I'm like, nah, I can't bring it up because
you can always bring it up.
But that we just lose that spontaneous, laugh, But when it takes, like I said, I think we both talked about it. Is we added to our title, right? The Fun Time Super Terrific Happy Hour. But there's a part of me that's like, maybe we should add a word like every episode. Make it like this 20 long.
50 episodes. All of a sudden, it's like, welcome to the.
And you like pause, and you're like, that's all. You're like, that's all the time we have for the show, guys. We'll see you next time.
There's too many commas. They're like, fix your name.
Yeah. And then
the stuff when we talk on the phone, I laughed really hard at work the other day to where they had to check on me because I was in my office when you sent the text about the kid.
Oh yeah.
And the reconnected, naming
Yeah.
himself on the Zoom
Yeah.
call as reconnecting. I was like, that's totally awesome. I'm gonna try and use that next time I have to do like a Zoom call
I
workshop.
bet that's probably some smart high school kid. There's no way. I don't think there's no way my second grader would figure that out. Maybe fifth grade, middle school, but
That was pretty good because even with the dots, the reconnecting dot dot dot, I loved it.
they'd be like,
I just started laughing. And then somebody come, "Are you okay?" I was like, it's a funny joke. Don't worry about it.
All right. So we discussed why we're Choey and Jandler. You know, another thing I've realized. Well, first let me get to this point. I remember laughing at you the last time we did this because I thought you're like, oh, it's so awesome. We're online. Yeah, we're on Spotify. We're on this, right? Yeah, you were geeking out, and then I started doing it when I listened to it on the drive home, right? And then I think that whole week after I was listening to episode 1 a lot.
Yeah.
Like I did it when I was like on my bike or just anytime I had like 30, 40 minutes. Like let me just listen to it. And then I started listening to episode 2, and most of the reason I did it was to kind of critique myself, just see how it was going. Mm. But I told you, I think I listened to it so much, it made us popular. Like our little popularity bar kind of was going up on the Apple.
We're hitting a lot of views. Hopefully, it's other people watching that listen to it. But we haven't really promoted it yet. So
I got one coworker that she listened to it, and I got a buddy in Hawaii. He tried to listen to it. He needs to listen to it like on his earbuds or something.
Oh, I got you.
I don't think it was as loud the first couple. But anyway, so here's some observations, right? And it's mostly for me, right? First thing, I need to talk louder. And that's why we got 2 mics now.
2 mics. We're moving on. We are on the road to success and fame right now. 2 mics, everybody.
2 mics. But I also noticed, and I don't see it here there it is. It's like I don't see it in my notes. I want to make sure I cross it off. Don't get confused. When I listen to it, you have what I would call admin voice, and I have like this laid back. Like you sound like you're sitting up at attention. You know, this perfect posture, and you're very like. You very care about your word choice, you know. And I was like, man, you sound serious. And I was like, people don't know this guy. Like, you know, you're a funny guy, but you sound so serious, like on the podcast.
I think the fancy term is code switching, and they have a couple of terms for the same thing, but you switch depending upon what setting you're in, where you're at. Like, so that you're hanging out with you. Our conversations more often than not are way different than anything I'm going to say in front of a teacher that I have at school or a coworker. Even with my assistant principal, when we're supposed to be like lockstep and key, like on a percentage scale, 2% of what like me I would feel comfortable talking to you about.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we try not to just throw out there.
Well, yeah, but it's just one of those things that purposeful and intentional or something that I try to be at work just to make sure like I present one thing, and it's not to be like all uptight, but as much as I would love to let loose and let everybody, I think that this is why I was really excited about that I came up with the idea for the podcast in the first place.
It was all your idea. It was a great idea.
Sit there and roll out and kind of sit there and say, you know, we have that back and forth. We have that level of comfort between me and you. You have one perspective, I have another perspective. So even when we have these situations, we don't see the same thing
in the same way.
Hardly, yeah. So you have a different point of view than I do, and we can kind of roll that out, and we can have those counterpoints that we can also have fun with because you and I know each other so long. Like we're pretty much like on the same level as far as understanding and seeing the things that are funny in certain things. So.
Yeah, we laugh at things that most people are like, "What's wrong with y'all?"
Yeah, so like sometimes when you send me text messages like during the day, like I'll be in the middle of something and I look at them like, okay, anyway, and I gotta I gotta gather my thoughts because like somebody's like. I'm in the middle of like, hey, you know, we're not doing this the right way. We got to make sure we're monitoring this. We got to switch that, do this and this and this and this. And the text comes through and I read it. On my
Start laughing.
I get like a big face. I get like a smile on my face. And they're like, they look at me and I'm like, don't worry, it's my friend. I almost feel like I have to like preface it every time with, I've known him since high school, so it's been a while. Don't worry about it. Get back to where we're at.
No, but another thing that like I noticed when I listened to us, right? Like I said, you sound more serious, more professional. I sound like I'm like lounging in some beanbag chair wearing flip flops or whatever. I'm just like, dude. It's crazy, man. Just crazy.
I got Jimmy Buffett over here with it here.
That's because I got longer hair. Just because I have hair.
Rastafari. Yeah. I always think about it, and I never looked up the name, but I feel that's why I try to sit there and not be as serious with the kids, and at least be like more calm with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I'm trying to redirect kids at school, because I don't want to be the bald dude from Back to the Future. Like,
Yeah.
if I yell, like I miss, and I can't. I'm going to Google his name.
Yeah, I meant to look at his name, so we were prepared for that. But
I feel like that's my guy. Like I'm like, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy from Back to the Future. And all of a sudden they're going to sit there and Mr. Strickland. There you go.
I knew it was with an S, but you said it with an S last time, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah, when we were doing our movies, you were kind of close.
But yeah, he's a Strickland. I don't want to be Mr. Strickland.
The strict guy.
That's why they picked the name.
Probably. That makes sense now. We should call up Robert Zemeckis and just be like, "Hey, dude, why was this guy's name this way?"
You go back and you're like, I get it.
Hey, we've cut already.
Willis was dead the whole time.
You go back and tell everyone all the plots to movies.
Sorry, that's a spoiler. Don't watch.
If you haven't seen Sixth Sense by now, it came out like 20 years ago.
Spoiler.
I don't know what to tell you. Speaking, we kind of been talking about this pop culture references, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you were saying, like, we'll send each other text messages. Like, sometimes we just send each other like lines of a movie, and seeing if the other person can like quote it back. And I think we always both laugh when we do it. A few years ago, we called a vice principal. Then I think now they're all APs. They're all assistant principals, right?
It just, as much as I would love to tell you one way or another,
it's all about the district.
It's all about the district.
So, but anyway, so for us, they're all APs now.
Yeah.
But the guy that we have a new one at this point. But about 4 years ago, we had a staff meeting, and it was something about one of our textbooks, and he was like, you know what, teachers, you can go ahead and just tear that up, right? And it was consumables, right? So it's like, you can just tear it up, throw it away. It's like hardback.
Bad call there, guys.
But when he said that, my first thought was Dead Poet Society, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I really wanted to stand on the table in the cafeteria and yell out, "Captain, my captain!" But I figured people would be like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, because there's so many people, like, there's so many teachers that are like 10, 15, 20 years younger than me, that they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" So I didn't do it. I just thought it was like I said, it came in my mind. And there's so many times stuff happens at school, and I want to just talk about like a movie, but I don't think everyone gets it like I do.
No, and so this is just to kind of get a peek into the mind of our level of immaturity sometimes. And I know you're probably gonna laugh because I didn't tell you about this the other day, I don't believe. But we're in a meeting, and they were talking about texts that we should probably give to the textbooks, like different books, like to build a repertoire of, like, new teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a book. And it was real simple. It's a real quick read, and it was about 100-something pages, divided up into about 10 sections. It's 150 pages. I don't remember what, but essentially it was like each chapter was just like something small you could kind of do to kind of introduce into your staff. Well, to your staff, things that they can kind of implement in their practice. Like one was like, hey, perhaps to get a social media page going and stuff like that. Put your phone, like, so everybody's got smartphones. Put your work on email on your phone, so on the go you can check emails. Sometimes. Yeah. And all these things that I'm like,
they put that in a book. I did that years ago.
Yeah, it was like earth shattering. I guess the book was like 5 years old or something like that right now, and I'm kind of like, that's.
You're like, how did you not know that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that I was like, this is all basic. Like, you're not telling me anything that I don't already know. But somebody made the comment. They were like, I just imagine this. We give this to the teachers, and it can be right next to their Harry Wong. And exactly. And that's what I did in the meeting. I just kind of laughed. And I realized Harry Wong's first days of school. I get it. But it was just like, I was like, I can't keep my face straight right now. And so I kind of just busted out a little bit, laughed. Everybody looked at me with this like look of it. And it was the first time.
Were you the only one laughing?
Yeah. It was the first time in a long time that I've been looked at like a mature child. I was like.
This reminds me of Austin Powers. You ever heard like where they had the flying thing? Like, hey, you got 2 balls. That's got 2 giant balls, and it's like, wing.
So I was like, I just started kind of laughing real quick at that. I think of myself. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like a little bit immature. My bad. And then nobody knew what I was laughing at. And I did.
Did you have to explain it later?
I explained it to my assistant principal later. I was like, and she understood, but I was just like, when I was like. Just the way it was, I imagine it sitting there on the shelf next to your Harry Wong, and I was like,
"That's like it's like when me and Start busted out laughing in biology class over some scientific word that we just sounded dirty to us, like, my cock."
Yeah.
And so we're just like freaking out, and no one knew what we were doing. You ready? All right, it's cheers time, and my screen moved up a little bit for me. All right, what we got here? Hey, Choey, what do we say to our friends in Germany?
Prost.
Prost. South Korea?
Gandhi.
Gunbei. Brazil?
Saudi.
Saudi. England.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Australia.
Cheers, mate, again. On the barbie.
And Barbados.
Cheers. Cheers. I don't know how.
I like how you go from like, cheers, mate, and then you're like, cheers.
I don't know how,
You're just like,
I don't know, like a Barbadian or Barbadosian
You're-
accent.
you're like, you seen Wayne's World, right?
Yeah.
You remember where they're like, he's doing it when they had the green screen and he's doing all the states? He's like, I'm in Delaware.
We're in Texas, raising Broncos.
And he's like,
Hi,
I'm
I'm
in
in
Delaware. People in Delaware are like, what the? What the?
All right, guys, welcome back from the break. So, what's really we're trying to do like a weekly thing.
A little segment
We'll do
for
a
you.
little segment called "What's Chappin'?"
Oh, I didn't have my beat button ready.
Oh,
Okay, you gotta give me a second. I wasn't ready. Ask me later. All right, now go.
What's Chappin' Choey's? And so essentially, this is a part where like it's just something that happens around school that really kind of just irks me a little bit. I'm sure everybody's gonna know what I'm talking about. Is when you have meetings about a meeting, like a meeting that's coming up. Like we don't need to prep for some other meeting. Like I get when you need to prep for the meeting itself, so you get whatever materials you need to gather up and kind of roll in. But I've had meetings, especially once I become an administrator. We have a meeting about when we're going to have another meeting. And so I'm like, we're preparing. I'm having to prepare for one thing that's preparing for the other thing. Why don't I just use the whole time to prepare for the actual real meeting that's happened? Like, I don't need to prep for, I mean, I don't know. I had a meeting the other day to get ready because I'm like, all right, we got to have a meeting for this. We're going to have this meeting. We're going to have that meeting. And so what am I going to discuss at this meeting? What am I going to discuss at that meeting? So we're having meetings about meetings. And it's like, I look at my calendar and like the little Google Insight thing or whatever it is, the Google Analytics bar tells me that I've spent 20 hours of my month in meetings, and I wanted to stab myself in the eyeball.
First, a couple things. I used to joke because we do planning days every now and then. Like we have extended planning time. We have a 6-day rotation, so we just happen to have ours yesterday. But I used to joke. I was like, we need to have a planning day to plan what we're going to plan. And people were like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm just messing around. I was like, but that's what it feels like. You're like, I need to plan what I'm supposed to do. And it's just like, what the?
Yeah, and so like I get it. Like you have particular days where you're working because you're working for the moment. But it's almost like when you look at sports, like you're practicing what you're gonna do in practice, but you're not even really practicing the skill. You're just practicing how you would talk about the skill in practice. And it's like I don't know. It's just different from rehearsals. I get rehearsals, but it's just insane.
When you first brought up the idea, when you told me about like the meetings were bothering you, I was like, dude, you set the meetings. I was like, how are you mad? You're like, well, I got all these meetings. I was like, you're the administrator, you're in charge. And I was like, and so I imagine in my head, you're like, who set this staff meeting? And they're like, you did. And you're like, oh, never mind. But you're talking about the meetings that your people over you set for you, right?
Well, okay, so you popped something in my brain right now. Nothing makes me more mad than having to do staff meetings, simply because I will talk about something. And like whatever, I've got in the habit. So I got my presentation. So I got my PowerPoints, Google Slides, whatever program you want to call it. And so I put it on. I run through my stuff. And so that's my agenda. Like it's on there. It's that. At the end of that thing, I share that presentation out as like a PDF to all my staff people.
Right.
And it seems like it, let me run you through the scenario. Like you said earlier, like you talk to the kitchen. All right, guys, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. Everybody got it? Yeah, good. You got questions? No. Remember, it's this, this, and this. And then you get irritated when a kid's like, what are we doing? I get teachers and staff members who don't ask questions. Everybody got it? Yeah, we're good. And everybody nods. And then like a week later, hey, what am I supposed to do for this? And I'm like, you're the same person that's sending kids up because they're not paying attention in your class. And I'm teaching, and I try to be, like I say, purposeful and intentional. So I try to present stuff to teachers so they can see an effective way to provide instruction. I'm moving around the area where I'm at when we're talking. I'm doing this. I'm not standing at the front of the group the entire time I'm walking. I'm trying to give them, I'm giving them life examples. So I'm like, so take, for instance, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so. They do this. I had a conversation so the other day, trying to tie in real life connections. And then I get the same feedback from some of these teachers that they get from their kids, but they want me to punish the kid that doesn't pay attention. And I want to be like, then I should be punishing you too.
Well, teacher, like, you know, like if you take a typical classroom, right? You probably got about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hardworking kids in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like that are really like they're there, right? They're on point. You got there's always like 4 or so that are like totally out of it, and I feel like everybody else is kind of like in between.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but those top 5 I was talking about, those are like the hard charges, right?
Yeah.
Teachers are like that too. Like you got people that they'll go all out. You got people that are like not listening at all, not really caring, and then there's most people are probably kind of like in that middle zone where they're like, and see, they're like, I don't know, like what I was gonna ask you, how I always interpret staff meetings should be, what do we need to know? Like, is there schedules coming up? Are there procedures we need to do? Right?
Yeah.
Our staff meetings a lot of times, us looking at data, and that's like, this is PD, this is professional development. This is not a staff meeting.
Well, I mean,
And we're supposed to we do staff meetings. We're supposed to do it once every month. Dude, we have a staff meeting like almost every week. And it's like, dude, we could do this in an email. You know? We could do this. We have, like, we don't need to be saying because another thing I was telling you, like, I was more calmer in the morning. I don't know what it is, but after lunch, it's like the whole body just realizes, dude, you know, like, I'm tired. Like, I've been up the whole day. I've been walking around the whole day. Like, I'm exhausted. And then to do a staff meeting on a Monday at like 3:30, and you're like, oh.
We always did ours like Thursday.
We'll see. We have Mondays are our staff meetings normally. Tuesdays are PLC days, our planning learning community.
Yeah.
So that's every Tuesday. And when we start doing tutoring, it's Wednesdays, Thursdays. So I'm like, dude, there's a lot of times the only time I can leave early is a Friday. And you know what teachers do on Fridays. So,
Go home and grade.
yeah. So, well, that, you know, or
Go home and grade papers.
yeah, not on a Friday.
Enjoy a little happy hour. Make sure it's a fun, terrific, super happy hour.
Yeah, it needs to be. We didn't do happy hour yesterday. We actually went dancing like late night. So I got to go home and work out and then go.
Killer bacon dancing.
Yeah, Footloose. They actually played Footloose.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was a country bar, man.
Sweet. Was it the Blake Shelton version?
Yeah, it was the one from was it the remake of the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see that movie?
The remake?
Yeah.
Most of it.
I didn't see it, so I have no idea.
It was alright. It was just kind of one of those. I don't know. I mean, I guess with the remake, it's supposed to be like along the same lines of the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly different or here and there.
You know what irritates me?
What?
But then we'll move on to the next little bit. I can't stand prequels. Like, they come out.
You don't like prequels?
So, like, Amazon's got the Rings of Power.
You're not watching that?
I mean, I try to watch it, but I'm like, I already know what's going to happen. Like, because you already know. Like, so if you
I see what you mean. Because I like prequels, but I understand what you're
came out
saying.
As the prequel, like, should happen before it. Like, so that way I don't know.
So that's what you're not watching the House of Dragons prequel stuff, are you?
No, because I'm like, I already know how it's going to end. Like,
Well, you know how it's gonna end, but you don't know all the stuff that leads up to it, man.
I mean, it's like when they tell you when you were a kid, don't read the end of the book, read the whole book. Like, you cheat, you read I know, so and so's gonna win at the end. So like, you don't. So when you see something happen, it's all, oh my God, are they gonna live? Well, of course they're gonna live. They're in 4 movies from now. That's how they got the scar, though.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was just one thing about my head.
You.